this Ramadan.
Assalamu alaikum wa rahmatullahi wa barakatuh. Welcome back to the program. This is Iftar Drive on Salam Media, and it's Palestine Ramadan Radio. Now, just a few days ago, a film was released in the United States of America. It's called Boycott. The name of the movie is Boycott, directed by Julia Bacha. It's about just over an hour. The movie talks about how a senator in the state of Arkansas promotes a bill that forces companies in the United States to never be involved in any type of boycott of the state of Israel. In fact, people are forced to sign these loyalty agreements, and if they don't sign the loyalty agreements, they would be sanctioned. Now, this is the opposite side of the BDS movement. BDS is divestment, sanctions, and boycott, divestment, and sanctions. We have a BDS movement in South Africa, which we all know as Africa for Palestine. The divestment movement has gathered momentum over the years. And to talk to us now about how Palestinians in Palestine are, looking at the same BDS movement, we are going to invite my next guest. His name is Jamal Juma. He's an activist. He's been involved in grassroots resistance since the first Intifada, and is a founder of Stop the War campaign. And he played a key role in the formation of Palestine's very own BNC, which is the BDS National Commission. And he joins me now from Al-Quds. Jamal, assalamu alaikum wa rahmatullahi wa barakatuh.
Wa alaikum assalam wa rahmatullahi wa kullu aam wa antum bikhair.
الصحة والسلامة وأنتم إن شاء الله. علينا وعليكم إن شاء الله.
علينا وعليكم جميعا إن شاء الله.
جزاك الله خير. It's almost finished Ramadan and what was it like for you in this month, the month of Ramadan? Was it good?
For us it's good, and it's a month of jihad. It's a month of people standing strongly for their religion, for their holy places, for practicing their relation with God freely. That's what they want. That's what they are fighting for. That's what they're sacrificing for.
Yes.
Trying to protect one of the most holy places for the whole Islamic world, Al-Masjid Al-Aqsa and Al-Quds. The Jerusalemites, the people in Jerusalem who standing day and night. It's not just Fridays. It's every day with Al-Fajr, pray. Thousands, tens of thousands of people run and fled to Al-Aqsa. In spite of all the barriers, in spite of all the checkpoints, the whole police that's standing on the gates and trying to prevent people, attacking them with tear gas, but all the time they insist and they get inside the mosque, embracing their mosque, and also continue their praying until late. The same in the evening with the Taraweeh also. Taraweeh also, people stay most of the night there. So for us, it's our worry is that the attack on Al-Aqsa since the last year, you remember last year it was an uprising, big uprising because of this. We know that the Israeli Zionist Jews, they want to take over the place. And this is for the Palestinians, it's a kind of a red line, where we are all sacrificing ourselves for that. So
absolutely.
Yeah.
So Ramadan brings with it all those memories of previous Ramadans and the intensity of the occupation we begin to see in the month of Ramadan. Is there any reason, Jamal, that the Zionists tend to be more cruel, tend to be more vociferous in their attempt to sort of bring down the Muslims or to clamp down on the Palestinians in Al-Aqsa? What is it about the month of Ramadan that makes the Palestinian forces to be more belligerent, to be more violent, to be more... Yes.
In fact, this goes back to the early days of the occupying Jerusalem and annexing it. Israel want to Judaize the city. So all what they did there from the settlements that they are continue building and expanding either inside the old city, around the old city, and in circles around it. Where it's at the end in 2002, when they start building the wall, they form what they called it Greater Jewish Jerusalem, which is it takes 10% of the West Bank. They annex 4 major blocks of settlements, adding to Jerusalem around 200,000 settlers, and exclude from Jerusalem 22 Palestinian neighborhoods, around 225,000 Palestinians. This is one of the massive ethnic cleansing that happened to the city, without any smart one, without moving the people from their places, with building a wall like 9 meters high and isolate the people from their city. The whole issue about Judaizing the city to make it Jewish, and they continue also targeting the city inside, by targeting the people to push them out from there. And
Right.
they issue so many laws to prevent the Palestinians from continuing their normal life there, either from their building their houses or even their normal life there. So the conflict and the fight and the struggle for the Palestinians to keep their existence inside the city against this policy of expulsion.
Right.
One of the most places that they put in their hands, if they take it over, that means that they have full sovereignty of the city, which is Al-Aqsa Mosque.
Subhanallah.
If they get Al-Aqsa Mosque, for them, this is the end. This is the end of Jerusalem as an Islamic Jewish Palestinian, Islamic Christian Palestinian identity. So this is part of the issue, which is the political for the Zionist secular, let's say, ideology. But there is another ideology come along with this, serve that, which is like the fanatic religious groups that they are seriously working on destroying Al-Aqsa and built what they called it in their myth, the temple. So they believe
I've seen videos of those same extremist Israelis that you're talking about. They sing songs that are very insightful. Last year we saw it, and it was just bringing chills down my spine watching what they were saying, because they would translate what they would say. I want to talk to you though, Jamal, about BDS, the movement. I mean, the Israeli economy. If you could just paint us a picture of the Israeli economy, does it rely on imports? Does it rely on exports? And how does the BDS movement attempt to curtail that or impact that?
Yeah, in fact, I don't know if our respected audience know more about BDS. BDS is a Palestinian-led movement, started mainly in 2005, and it was based on the basic human rights for the Palestinians to be achieved. That's what they call for BDS. And we inspired by South African experience, like of the boycott, divestment, and sanction. In fact, when we talk about BDS, is not just challenging the Israeli economy. This is one part of it. But I would say one of the most parts that Israel is worried about is their image. Is their image that hit strongly and make crashes in this image, the BDS. Because they built their image on the West as this is the only democracy in the Middle East. This is the developed, progressive country that is for all its people. And they think that is the only oasis of the democracy. And the BDS truly just peel the bad face of the Zionist as a colonial apartheid criminal state. So they can't challenge BDS more than this. They can't delegitimize BDS as a terrorist movement. It's based on human rights that's supported by the human rights charters and international law and United Nations resolutions, and talks to the conscience of the people and put the facts that this criminal state do on the ground in front of the people, whether they accept this or they not accept this. So BDS is creating a worldwide awareness about the reality of Israel, what Israel reality is on the ground. And this results, all these efforts results, and backed up also lately by the basic main human rights organizations around the world, like Amnesty, like Human Rights Watch, and also the Israeli Human Rights Organization, that all say that Israel is in a colonial apartheid state, and they ask the international community that it must stop that. So this is one thing. This is also lead to many other things, either the culture, for example. Israel presents itself as a state modern that participated in cultural evenings, invite important cultural occasions to work or to do their in Israel. And this is lately by BDS. It has been reached to those organizations and famous artists, famous actors and actresses. And also there is so many stands, even from Hollywood. Years ago, 50 actors and actors from Hollywood, they have been signed a letter, and they refuse to come to Israel because of the violation of the human rights and because Israel, what Israel is doing here. On the sport, the same. In the economy, the same. One of the things that we are targeting is the responsibility of the corporate responsibility. These companies, big companies that Israel tried to legitimize their colonization by engage them in work in the colonies and in the Palestinian occupied areas in the West Bank mainly, and Jerusalem, which is like by law and by international law, it shouldn't be. It's like it will be illegal. So BDS started to challenge these companies, and we have like very successful examples, like Veolia, for example. It has been since 2008 when we launched a campaign against Veolia because they are participating in the light railway in Jerusalem, in East Jerusalem, connecting the settlements to it. Like they lost over $20 billion from the BDS movement around.
Subhanallah.
Yeah, and they at the end they find no way but to withdraw from this. But for us the same. So this big cartel companies also under this pressure and the pressure from the activist BDS groups around the world, they force at the end to get out from. And this is the thing that worried Israel mainly. Maybe BDS now it will not cause like that the Israeli economy will fall apart. But it's like it make cracks in their economy, in their image, in their relation with different sectors at all. They were working, they were working like for several years on delegitimizing the BDS with governments. And they spent millions of dollars. They have been employing thousands of Zionists in the embassies everywhere around, just like to track the BDS activists and the groups, and they targeted also the government, the parliaments, in order to delegitimize and criminalize the BDS activists. At the end, we didn't succeed by this. One of the main platform for them is the United States. United States also, they tried with different states to get the laws to criminalize the BDS activists in general, but also there is successes in some places, but also there is like another failures and other successes for them.
I was just talking to the audience before I introduced you about the state of Arkansas. There's a senator there that has drawn up legislation criminalizing any BDS movement against Israel in particular, and in fact allowing forcing people to sign loyalty pacts with the state of Israel, with Israeli companies, and if they don't do that, then they will be prosecuted. I mean, isn't that like? Have you heard about that? First of all, they even made a movie about it.
This is not the first time, but this is crazy. At the end, if they do it with one state, for example, it won't last for long, because at the end, the constitution in the United States, you can go and sue them for there, and and the BDS movement is ready for that. At certain moment, if this goes on, they will go on the federal courts, and they will get a decision against that. So they are trying, but one of the most things that, by the way, that's worrying the Israel more than that is like the percentage of the Jewish community that start supporting the Palestinian rights. Like in CNN I think in 2017, something like this, 16, 17, I don't remember exactly. They did like a kind of a poll, like any public opinion survey within the Jewish community. They find out that 46% of the young Jews in the United States, they are supporting the Palestinian rights, and particularly BDS. And and BDS movement in the States also is like there is some leaders of the BDS movement are Jewish people that working inside this. So this is what the things that worry them also, that also there is a Jewish people around the world that telling them, don't do it in my name. Don't do your crimes in my name.
Absolutely. Jamal, another thing that the Israeli government is not, sort of like allowing, they're fighting back, and how they fight back is this normalization with the different Arab countries, the Abrahamic Accords. You may have heard of the UAE with, I think they did it with Sudan. How damaging is this to the BDS campaign when a Muslim country or an Arab country signs a normalization treaty with Israel?
First of all, the people must know that these countries, particularly, I think, except Sudan, these countries that we did normalization with Israel lately, after Trump, and they already before they were like any had a relation, even if it's not on top under the table.
Okay.
And it's known to the Arab country, to the Arab people, and to the people around the world that this is like any regimes who's puppets to the United States, and they are so they are not like any working for dictatorship, totalitarian regimes, that they are not really working for the benefit of their people and the region and Palestine. What they do before was lip service. We know that, about supporting Palestine. So it's not for the Palestinian people. It's a shock that they did it so openly, so in a rude way, like to do it this way and start even like attacking Palestinians, trying to justify their shame. But at the end, it's limited. They can't fool the Arab people and the international community widely. They understand this and they know that. So. And we did BDS worked intensively within the Arab world, in Kuwait, for example, in Jordan, in Egypt, in Morocco, also in Tunisia, and in so many places around there is a BDS strong movement, and we have continue speak that we talk to the Arab people to isolate these regimes, to peel its reality at the end. And we know it came along with all this normalization wave. It came along with what's so-called deal of the century, quote unquote, Trump, which is clearly it's liquidating Palestine issue. And the aim of bringing to the surface all the normalization is to isolate Palestinians to frustrate them, to tell them, look, even your brothers is not supporting you anymore. So you have to accept at the end the slavery system that we are building in Palestine, the apartheid system that you are talking about. But the Palestinians, is going on. BDS is one of the most respected movement in the Palestinian society and international wide. Continue its work without interruption, and
absolutely
be more responsibility on the BDS, to work in the Arab world, or to make more clear to the people who don't know. But it's part of our fight at the end.
Absolutely, Jamal. For somebody watching this interview and they're listening to us talking about BDS, I've explained boycott, divestment, sanctions. An ordinary person that doesn't understand trade laws and trade agreements between two different countries, how can they look out for products coming from Israel that are in the supermarket or in their local market? Is there a way of identifying it and then making sure that you don't buy it or you don't support it?
there is a barcode on the product usually, and it's it's 972.
The barcode.
The barcode. It's 972, and usually it's it's written produced of Israel, people must look carefully, even if it's in a small writing, but it's should be written there somewhere. But the barcode is clear, if there is no production of the production source, so the barcode can clear this very well.
So the barcode, are there certain numbers that you should look out for?
Yeah, this is 972.
972.
Yeah.
Jamal Juma, I think on that note, inshallah, we'll have to end it. Jazakallah khair. Very, very informative discussion I've had with you. I really enjoyed it. Jazakallah khair.
Thank you. Shukran lakum. Thank you.
عفوا بارك الله فيكم. السلام عليكم ورحمة الله. كل عام وأنتم بالخير الصحة والسلامة.
نعم صحيح.
Ameen. Assalamu alaikum wa rahmatullah. That was Jamal Juma talking to us there from Al-Quds. Beautiful discussion, beautiful man. And I think if there's anything that you take away from that discussion, when you're looking at your, when you are at your local supermarket or marketplace, look at the barcode. If it's got 972 in it, product of Israel, do not support. Well, at least that's what the BDS movement is all about. When you see that 972 barcode, do not give money or do not contribute money for the continued subjugation of the Palestinian people illegally, bringing our time to 20 minutes after 5 p.m. Central African time. Maulana Yunus is here in the studio. When I come back from the break, inshallah, we'll continue our spiritual upliftment. Stay tuned.